Good morning, live from England. I think it's probably about it's about 6:30 here in the morning. So over in the States, if you're watching from there, good evening. I imagine it's quite late. And this is the Super Secret Scope. So why is it called the Super Secret Scope? Well, my name's Simon Gray, and I run a business called Codex, which is a careers and employability training company. So what I do is I help people do a number of things. I help them find jobs. And also I help people who think, well, do you know what? A job isn't for me. I actually want to start my own business. So whatever your career aspirations are, that's what I'm here to do, and that's what I'm here to help with. So I call it the Super Secret Scope because I'm the author of two books, Super Secrets of the Successful Job Seeker, published by Harriman House. If you want to check this out on Amazon, Super Secrets of the Successful Job Seeker, it's got over 55 five-star reviews, so it's done pretty well. And my latest book, Super Secrets of Successful Executive Job Search, just been published on Amazon as well. So check it out. So in fact, before I crack on, where's everybody from this morning? And is anybody looking for a job online? Going forward, welcome. Anyone looking for a job? Anyone need some help? I'm going to talk to you about the 5 top things you can do on LinkedIn this morning. Hello from Philadelphia. Wow, must be late over there now. So does anyone who's joining this morning, does anyone use LinkedIn at all? Does anyone use LinkedIn for anything, job search, whatever it might be? Just type in the box there. Okay, I'm not seeing any comments come in, but never mind. 1:30 a.m. Crikey, that's far too late. 6:30 here, so we're at the morning. I'm in Mansfield. Very good, very good. Mansfield, just up the road, up the A60. I used to train up in Mansfield. I do martial arts. I used to train up there, so I used to go up there quite regularly. So we've got quite a few people on this morning, so that's good. So I'm going to talk to you about LinkedIn. First of all, I want to explain what LinkedIn is. So LinkedIn, I always describe as kind of Facebook for business people or Facebook for job seekers. LinkedIn is a social platform where people can post a profile about themselves, basically post an online version of their CV. But LinkedIn, because it's a social media platform, is a bit more than a piece of paper. It's a bit more than a CV. It's actually a place where you can interact. And having worked in the recruitment industry, not anymore, I hasten to add, but having worked in the recruitment industry for over 10 years, what I've found is that people put a profile on LinkedIn and then do very little with it. And I used to ask all my senior candidates, what are you doing with LinkedIn? And sometimes they say, well, I've got a profile on there. And that was it. And I'd say, well, what are you doing with it? And they look at me blankly. And that was one of the reasons I decided to write this book, just to talk about LinkedIn, to talk about how to do job search properly. So first thing to notice on LinkedIn is it's a place where people are looking for talent. So if you're looking for a job, then LinkedIn is a great place to be found, because not all jobs are advertised. Not all jobs are placed with recruitment companies. There is a number of reasons for that. One is cost. One is the fact there's no recommendation usually. So LinkedIn is a great place to position yourself so that people can find you. Because what I can tell you is that employers are on LinkedIn all of the time looking for people. And recruiters are on LinkedIn all of the time looking for people. And I know this because when I used to recruit for some of my clients back in my recruitment days, people would say to me, or the clients would say to me, do you know what, we're going to use your services, but also we're going to be looking on LinkedIn to see if we can find people directly. And I used to, as a recruiter, I used to source people from LinkedIn all of the time to fill my job. So you've got to be on there. But the important thing with LinkedIn, a bit like a CV, you've got about 10 to 15 seconds to capture people's attention. So if you're on LinkedIn at the moment and you're watching this, if you want to go on to and have a look at my profile, because I'm going to talk a little bit about that, and I've got my profile set up properly, it's Simon Gray, Gray-ACA. So it's linkedin.com/in/Simon Gray ACA. So a few more people joining us. Where are you joining from this morning? Anyone in the States? Late there now. Anyone from the UK this morning? Bright and early. They say the Utah, USA, welcome. They say one of the problems with Periscope, actually, I was watching Michael Hyatt the other day on Periscope, who was talking about a number of the problems. And one of the problems is when the comments flash up, you can't see who's speaking, so all I can see is the comments. So I know we've got people from France, from Belgium. Wow, this is an international conference on Wednesday morning. I always call Wednesday morning, by the way, in the job market, decision day. because most people on a Monday morning, well, quite a lot of people on a Monday morning can be quite depressed when they go to work and they think, oh, I'll just get to work, I'll just get through it, I'll get through it. Thursday, Friday, they're thinking, well, it's not too far to the weekend, so I'll just survive until the weekend. But Wednesday is kind of that decision day, that halfway house, where they think, do you know what? Maybe it's time for a career change. Maybe it's time for a job change. Wow, somebody from Peru. Okay, somebody's asking me, what are my credentials? That is a very good question, because what I've noticed on Periscope is you can listen to a lot of people talking a lot of nonsense. And how do you know they're telling you the right stuff? So my credentials are, for those watching, 10 years in the recruitment industry, 6 years as a consultant, and 5 years running my own recruitment company. So I was a founding director of my recruitment company, which I founded at the start of the recession over here in the UK, but turned it into a successful business. And I'm a published author, 2 books. This is the last time I'm going to show you the books. Super Secrets of the Successful Job Seeker, which has got 55 5-star reviews on Amazon, and Super Secrets of Successful Executive Job Search. Okay, thank you. Permission to keep going. Good. Always good to check people's credentials out. I do that all the time. Anyway, I'm going to talk about the 5 top tips for LinkedIn. So before I do that, anyone tell me what they think one of the top tips or the things that you need to get right for LinkedIn are? Just type in the box. Any ideas? Any ideas, those of you on LinkedIn? Or those of you wanting to get on LinkedIn? That's what this scope is all about. Okay, well, have a think about it. Type in while we go. But the first thing for me is nice pick. Who said that? I can't read, it's too small on the screen. Whoever said that, yeah, nice picture. So the thing with a picture is a picture paints 1,000 words, and you've got to have a headshot, and it's got to be a professionally done picture. If it's not a professionally done picture, people will tell. It can't be your holiday snap cropped, doesn't look good at all. And the other thing with a picture, and this is the thing people don't always know, and this is a minor point, but it's an important point, is your eyes and your face needs to be facing your profile, which means you need to be turned to the left slightly, looking at your profile. Now you might think, well, why is that important? When people land on your LinkedIn profile, you've got about 10-15 seconds to keep them. And immediately when they look at your face, you look at where somebody's eyes are going. And where their eyes are going it's down to the profile page. Somebody's saying it's too early for this, Simon. Never too early. Trust me, the early bird catches the worm. Okay, so you've got to look at your profile. But thanks for telling me anyway. I'd go back to bed if I was you. So professionally done photo with your eyes looking at the profile. The next thing is, so number 2 is your professional headline. So this is the thing at the top of your LinkedIn profile that describes you. It says what it is you're all about, what your job title is, or not necessarily what your job title is, but what you can actually do. So I'm looking at mine now over the shoulder of the camera. It says Executive Career Strategist, Author, Entrepreneur, and Non-Executive Director. So immediately when someone lands on my profile page, they can see what I do. They can see not just what I do, but where I could potentially add value, and that's what it's all about. So your description in your professional headline is not necessarily your job title, because if your job title is just something used internally in your company that nobody would really understand, well, nobody's going to search on it. Because you've got to think about what words people would search on in the advanced people search on LinkedIn to find you. So somebody might search for a career strategist, hence it's in my professional headline. Somebody might search for a non-executive director, hence it's in my professional headline. But if I was called something random in a business that I work for, I wouldn't necessarily use that in my professional headline. Okay, point number 3. Any ideas? Any ideas? Point number 3. Type in the box. Anybody? Welcome. Somebody else joined. This is the thing with Periscope. People just jump in and out. My job is to try and keep you listening. So point number 3. Don't know. Okay. Point number 3 is your summary. So on LinkedIn, you have the opportunity. Yeah, people are talking about skills, connections. I'll come on to connections. Remind me if I forget. So you on your profile on LinkedIn, you have a summary section. And then you also have an opportunity to describe and add the companies that you've worked for. The summary section is really important because it usually sits at the top. And the summary section needs to tell people what it is you do and where you add value. Where you add value is important because when people read your profile, they're going to be thinking, so what? They're going to be thinking, what's in it for me? They're going to be thinking, why should I contact this person? ahead of anybody else. And so, whoever's just popped that in, let me try and read that. Jimbo Smith, thanks Jimbo Smith. Yeah, good skills and no fluffy stuff. Exactly. The biggest thing that I used to see on a CV that I didn't particularly like and didn't really add value was that personal profile at the top, where it talks about I'm a conscientious, hard-working individual, because it's fluffy. There's no substance to it. The real substance on a CV and the real substance on your LinkedIn profile is your achievements. And what are achievements? It's where you added value in a business or an organisation that you work for. If you're at the start of your career, it could be stuff that you've done, hobbies and interests, or it could be work experience that you've had. So on your summary section, what you need to do is to just talk about where you've added value, and also think about keywords. So we all use Google, okay, and when you type into Google, if you were looking for you, what would you type in? What would be the keywords that you look for? I talked about mine: career strategist, author, entrepreneur, that kind of stuff. But what would it be for you? Because they're the keywords that you need to put in your summary profile. Because LinkedIn's on the internet, and LinkedIn is searchable. People can find you from your LinkedIn profile. When I started my recruitment company, didn't have a website, but people used to find me all the time from my LinkedIn profile. So it's a really, really powerful tool. So the other thing that you can do on your summary, which leads me on to point 4, is some of you may see in the news this week that LinkedIn has acquired something called SlideShare, slideshare.net. And SlideShare is a professional sharing platform, content sharing platform. So on SlideShare, you can post up slides like PowerPoint or Keynote slides, or you can, somebody's smiling, career strategist. Hey, it does what it says on the tin. Does what it says on the tin, or job market strategist if you prefer. On SlideShare, you can post up things like PDFs, articles if you've been in the press. You can post up keynote presentations, PowerPoint presentations. So on your summary section, and LinkedIn's acquired this, by the way, for $119 million. I'd like some of that, wouldn't you? $119 million. So why has LinkedIn acquired this? Because LinkedIn knows that this social sharing and social document sharing is pretty important to its platform. So that kind of tells people who are on LinkedIn that they should take note of this and take it seriously. Much the same way that Twitter acquired Periscope, which we're all on this morning. It's basically Twitter saying to the world, Periscope's important, so you need to be on this platform. Anyway, on your summary section, you have the opportunity to pull documentation, articles, interesting things through from SlideShare. You can also add a YouTube video. So you could do a video of yourself talking about your experience, or if you've been interviewed for something, you can stick that on there. And what it does, it makes your LinkedIn profile stickier, which means that people are going to land on it. They don't just see a load of text, they see some imagery. And we all like a picture, we all like a video. Facebook is backing videos now. LinkedIn is getting more into this space. Periscope, of course, it's all about video. Video is hugely important. So that's my tip number 4, to put some stuff on there through SlideShare. And then finally, the final tip. Anybody think about the final tip? Anyone know? Just type in the box what you need to do on LinkedIn to stand out from the crowd. Okay, well, I'll tell you, it's recommendations. So we live in a world these days where people don't necessarily trust. And somebody asked me on this Periscope, which is absolutely valid and no problem at all, asked me about my credentials. Recommendations, spot on, spot on. Alvaro, yes, spot on. So yeah, it's recommendations, because you've got to know who you're talking to, and you've got to know that they can actually do what they say they can do. And the best way to do that is something called social proof. So I could sit here and tell you that I'm really good at what I do. But in actual fact, you may not believe me. One of the best ways that you can, I'm going to tell you how to get recommendations in a minute, so hang on. One of the best ways that you can prove to people that you know what you can do, that you are able to do what you say you can do, is to get recommendations. I talked a little bit about my book here. Yeah, I've got 55 5-star reviews on Amazon. That's telling people, read this book. This guy knows what he's talking about. And on my LinkedIn profile, I work really, really, really hard to get recommendations. But somebody's just put a comment on there, Jimbo Smith. Yeah, you don't recommend the skills of random people. Yeah, the recommendations should be real, because people can tell if they're not. So if you've got your LinkedIn profile set up, what you need to think about doing is talking to the people that you used to work for, talking to the people who know you well, and asking them to recommend you. Now, the best way to do that is not just to message them through the platform, because they probably won't do it. The top tip here, and the best way to do it, is to actually phone them up and say, "Hi, John," or "Hi, Jane, working on my LinkedIn profile. We've worked together in the past. I wonder if you could spend a few moments, please, if I send you an invitation to do it, writing a quick recommendation for me." So that's the first tip. So you phone them up and ask them, because they're more likely to do it, because there's more buy-in there, because they verbally agreed to do it. The second thing you do on that call is you say to them, "Look, the things that I'm trying to promote through my LinkedIn profile are X, Y, Z. These are the skills that I'm trying to tell people about. So can you talk specifically about my experience in those areas?" Now, what you don't do is you don't write the profile, you don't write the recommendation for them, and you don't tell them exactly what to say, because that's inauthentic. That's not going to be an authentic recommendation. And your recommendations need to be real, and they need to be authentic. So guiding them as to what's important to you is great. Asking them to do it verbally is great. Then send the recommendation through LinkedIn. Wait a couple of days. If they haven't done it, give them a quick call back and say, "Could you do the recommendation for me?" It's really important. Emphasize how important it is to you that you get those recommendations. So somebody's put, "You've got to be desperate to use LinkedIn to get a job." Okay, well, let me ask you a question back. Why do you think that? Why do you believe that you've got to be desperate to use LinkedIn to get a job? Because I would say nowadays, an ever increasing percentage of people are finding their jobs through LinkedIn. Now, I understand this desperation thing, and you should never be desperate in the job market. If you are desperate in the job market, people will know, and it will turn people off. When I ran my recruitment business, okay, I had somebody text me every day saying, "I'm still looking for a job." Now, that's desperation. That's what you don't want. But you need to be on LinkedIn, because if you're not on LinkedIn, no one's going to find you. And look, you guys are all on this Periscope thing this morning. You're all on social media. We all spend an increasing amount of our time on social media. Recruiters, employers, they're all looking for talent. So if you decide not to be on LinkedIn, that's cool. That's absolutely fine. But just bear in mind that you're missing probably 50% of the chance of you finding a job anytime soon. So LinkedIn, just to summarize, and I'm going to talk about this on a future scope, LinkedIn is where you put your online profile. So it's kind of a shop, I call it a shop window to you as an individual and what you can offer the outside world. But that's not all that you can do on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn you should be using is what I call a proactive engagement tool. Okay, proactive engagement tool. And this is where you actually target businesses and organizations and people that you want to talk to who could potentially introduce you or offer you a job. And that's the bit I talked about at the start of this scope. That's the bit that everybody misses. They put their profile on there and they sit and wait. But actually using LinkedIn proactively to raise your profile, to raise your personal brand, and to engage with the people that could hire you or introduce you is even more important. So that's pretty much it for this morning. What time are we on? Wanted to try and keep this to about 15-20 minutes. One last thing. Somebody asked me about connections. Okay, well, connections are important because connections are about visibility. So what that means is if you've got 10 connections, well, you're probably visible to only a handful of people. So you have to work hard to build connections, because the more connections that you have, the more people you can see, but more importantly, the more people can see you. And there's first, second and third tier connections. So my first tier connections are people I'm directly connected to. Second tier are people that I'm not connected to directly, but somebody I'm connected to is, and third tier is self-explanatory. One of the quickest ways to build your profile on LinkedIn and to build your awareness on LinkedIn then is to join groups, because if you're on LinkedIn in groups, you're already connected to those people as a group connection. Okay, somebody asked me a really, really good question, some really good questions coming in this morning. Do you connect to random people? So people you don't know. Well, I need to ask you a question back. Depends what you're using LinkedIn for. If you're looking to increase your reach to people that you don't know, and the person that's possibly going to hire you is somebody you don't know, well, yes, you should. If you just wanted to keep it to a close group of people that you know, and you're not really into building your brand or online profile to people you don't know, then maybe you shouldn't. And you'll see people on LinkedIn having this thing called Lion, L-I-O-N, LinkedIn Open Networker, which basically is saying that they'll connect to anybody. My top tip here is I accept connection requests from anybody. But what I do is there's a first strike and you're out rule. So if somebody connects to me and then sends me inappropriate messages or starts to spam me, then I just disconnect from them. So it's one strike and you're out. That's my rule. So in actual fact, all the people who are on here this morning, if you'd like to connect to me on LinkedIn, you're going to build your second tier connection reach to the tune of 4,000 people, because I've got 4,000 connections, or just about 4,000 connections on LinkedIn. So if you go to linkedin.com/in/Simon Gray ACA, I'll be happy to connect to you, and send me a message and let me know what you think about the Periscope this morning. Other couple of things to do. If you like what you've heard, I do one of these pretty much every day. I missed yesterday because I was busy with a client. But if you like this, I'm going to do one or two of these every single day, just giving away free content, free advice. Then best thing to do is to click the little button. I think you either swipe to the left or to the right to follow me. Yeah, it's Gray with an A, G-R-A-Y, not 50 Shades. Everyone's spelling my name like that at the moment. So G-R-A-Y, ACA. ACA is my qualification, that's why it's on there. So best thing to do, just follow on here, swipe to the left or to the right, click the follow button. If you go to my Facebook page, careercodex.com, facebook.com/Career Codex, which is CAREERCODEX. If you go on there, pop a comment in, let me know what you thought of the scope this morning. Like the page, and I post these up on there afterwards so you can watch it again. And I always post on there when I'm going to do a live scope. So all good. Any last questions? LinkedIn, anything to do with the job market? Any questions? Fire them out now. Got about 10 seconds left, and I'll happily answer them if you've got any. If not, I guess say your name one last time. Okay, Simon, S-I-M-O-N, Gray, G-R-A-Y, ACA. Okay, so if you put that in the search box, you should find me. All right. So, been good to see you all this morning. Thanks for joining. Remember, those who get up early in the morning, early bird catches the worm. Never too early to learn something new. My task every single day is to try and learn something brand new, because if you learn something new every single day, imagine how much you're going to learn in a year. So, I might be on later. Like the Facebook page, connect to me on LinkedIn, follow me on Twitter at Career Codex, and I'll see you on the next scope. Okay, have a good day. See you. Bye-bye.